Every life has a soundtrack. Join me as we invite guests to share their journey through music, one song at a time. 10 moments, 10 memories. I'm your host, Sean, and welcome to 10 Tracks.
Are you ready?
Welcome to 10 Tracks. Today I'm coming live from Houston, Texas, and I'm sitting here with my niece, who is a high school student and also studying acting, Phoebe McKinnon. Hello, Phoebe.
Hello.
Welcome to 10 Tracks. You're the first guest we've had live on the show.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So this is exciting for us to do.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm in ninth grade as of currently. I love art. I love fashion. I love movies. I'm 15. I like school. I love my family, my friends, and I like coffee. So.
Excellent. When did you get into acting?
When I was younger, I was always interested in it. Like, I started this agency thing when I was, I think 9 or 10. And I think I started wanting to do it because I watched a lot of, like, sketch comedy, like, all that.
Mm-hmm.
I loved all that a lot. And I was just like, I want to do that. And so I got, like, my pictures and stuff and signed when I was, like, a kid. But then I, like, chickened out before I did anything.
Right.
But as of recently, I'm trying to dip my toe back in the water.
What are you focusing mostly, or where are you more interested? Comedy, drama, kind of?
That's a good question. I think I would love to do something with drama, but I think I would be the most successful in comedy. Not saying I'm like the most hilarious person ever or anything, but I think it's easier in that environment because you don't have to be as vulnerable. And if you're like doing something funny, everyone's going into it like, okay, this is going to be, yeah, obviously, but
Yeah. So what's harder for you right now with school and acting, to do like a math exam or to study a monologue or something that you have to do?
oh wow. I used to be really bad at math, and I've been doing better. I think I wouldn't be able to like analyze like something I get for English analyze, but like I would like a monologue or something, just because with like school it feels like this like pressure. Not that there isn't pressure with the monologue, but with monologue you're choosing to do that and you're choosing to work towards something.
Yeah.
And I feel there's more creative freedom with that as well.
Cool. Are there any characters that you see in movies now that you relate to, or that you really kind of like lean to?
Oh my gosh, I love this question. Oh, there's so many.
Who's some of your favorite actors?
So my favorite actors? Oh gosh, my favorite ever is Paul Dano, but he has been for a while.
Okay.
I really, really like Chloe Fanny. I love Zoe Deschanel. I like James Gandolfini a lot. He played Tony Soprano.
Yeah.
I think he has I like his mannerisms. I like Heath Ledger. I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I like a lot of actors. It's kind of broad. I don't want to like just go on listing, but
Do
yeah.
you see music as plays a good part for the movies when you're watching movies, like, the music that accompanies a lot of these films, or even in,
Absolutely.
soundtracks?
Absolutely. I think a lot of movies wouldn't be as good as they are without the soundtrack that they have. And I think it like some movies spend like a good amount of their budget on the soundtrack, which I think is totally worth it. Because if you want to have a good song that sticks with everything, it makes it like a perfect little bow to put it together. Like I think scores are really, really cool. I'd love to learn more about them at some point.
All right. Well, that's a good segue for us to jump into your songs.
Yeah.
And I was really excited to see your lists because there's so many really interesting songs here. Some new ones that I've never heard, and I was telling you offline that I don't know a few of your picks, but there's quite a few that I do. And so I feel like your mix is very eclectic, but also you've kind of gone back to some older music to listen to as well as stuff. So first on your list, track 1. This is Radiohead.
Yes.
Just.
Yes. I love Radiohead. I love that song specifically. That's the song that got me into Radiohead. And it's kind of very specific on why I chose it. It's kind of silly. I remember I had really long hair for most of my life, and as you can tell, my hair's short now.
It's short.
But I remember seeing this video of this person like cutting their hair, and the background music in it was just by Radiohead. And this is like when I was wanting to cut my hair, but like that video specifically just made me do it. I showed it to my mom, and I was like, "Mom, please, like, please let me get this done, please, please, please." And it took a lot of convincing. It took like months of convincing, but we went in and I showed the hairdresser the video, and then I haven't had long hair ever since. Now every time I hear that song, I think
Of the transition from long hair to short hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
It's kind of silly. But I'll hear it and I'm just like flat back to the past. Like, what does it say? Flash from the past? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very fun, and I like the part. You know how Radiohead does the long drawn out vocal stuff. I'm like so big fan of that. And I like a lot of their stuff now, so that's cool.
Yeah. I think they've got an interesting sound because they started out kind of at the tail end, maybe, or in the middle of that grunge scene, which obviously some great bands like Nirvana and whatnot, but they kind of then went into their own. And I think this album was a great bridge from trying to be like the other bands, finding their own sound, and then it just kind of, they just never stopped going after this.
I love the bends, totally. It's really incredible, I think. Do you have a favorite song on that one?
Probably Fake Plastic Trees is my all-time favorite. I remember it would be on whenever I would travel, and if I'd coming back to the States, or if I'm, just doing stuff, I would have it as my go-to playlist, and that song by them was always in there. It was almost like this grounding kind of like list of songs that I had to carry with me. This was when I still had them on cassette from CD. So you would make a cassette playlist to have with you. Now you can obviously make as many playlists on different things, but they would always be in that list of songs that you kind of felt like your security blanket almost to have.
Totally.
So this album was definitely a big influence in the 90s for me, but Fake Plastic Trees was just that song that stuck with me. Still does.
Love that one for sure. I was listening to it the other day. Big fan for sure. I think that whole album really fits really nicely and folded together.
Yeah.
You can like hold it in your hands almost. I think it's super cool.
I think, is there another one, Street Spirit?
Oh, yeah.
That's a great song too.
Yeah, I love that. I need to, I wanted to get it on record.
Yeah.
At some point, if I start actually collecting records at some point in my life, but
Yeah. But so for music now, I mean, because there's a lot of different types of music that you're interested, right?
Yes.
And you've been able to go back to older artists, older bands. I know a big band we talked about recently, it's not on your list, but because you really like them, the Beach Boys.
Yes, I love the Beach Boys so much.
So that's kind of interesting because, again, a lot of people today, and maybe people similar to you in age, or just in high school, they're obviously obsessed with certain sounds and certain genres. But I think when I was probably your age, I was going back to some of the early roots of artists I think as a kid, I always heard Elvis.
Yeah.
But then it would be like going back to stuff like the Beatles, the Stones, and other artists like that, more in the rock, because I was probably one of yours big into punk. So I had to kind of go back and listen to artists. And again, at the time when I was coming, the 80s were right in, that was in the middle of it. So you had a lot of the end of the punk era, which was still kind of fairly new. And then you had the 80s bands. So you could have like new wave bands. You had kind of indie bands like Echo and the Bunnymen, the Smiths.
Yeah.
And then you had the more rock bands, hair bands, hip hop, and a lot of rap was really kind of exploding then. So now you've got a lot of new music and new artists today, which are incredible.
I'm so lucky to have this.
Plus, you get all the stuff back.
Yeah, it's so plentiful, and like I have a big range to choose from. Therefore, I can like have like one song I'll have like came out like a year ago, and then one like 40 years ago.
Yeah. So tell me a movie that you've watched over and over, or that's kind of like your go-to, whatever you happy, sad, like laughing, crying, just something that you've seen multiple times and that stays in it doesn't have to be your favorite forever, but it's something you could watch it. If it just comes on TV, you'll put it on and see.
A movie I have caught myself rewatching frequently is I really like Gummo a lot for its visuals. It's not
What's it called?
Gummo. It's like an indie movie made in the 90s. I don't want to say it's one of my favorites, but I really, really like what the director Pheeb McKinnon does with because most of the budget is on the music, which I put one of my songs from there that was in that movie. I love how the fashion design in it. It's not necessarily like a happy movie or necessarily like a sad movie. It's more just like really gritty and just like kind of gross.
I think that's from some of the best movies. They don't have to have you don't even have to sort of make sense or assume they make sense from the first scene. Sometimes you need to watch it a few times before you can kind of get it. Get the kind of gist of what it is.
Yeah.
Wes Anderson movies are like that. I kind of think they're quite ironic and have a bit of a twist to them.
All the symmetry and the coloring. I love the coloring, the consistency of it. And I like who he casts as actors.
Yeah.
Big fan of that.
Using a lot of the same characters or same actors in the different ones and stuff, and having like his own troupe.
Yeah.
Let's go to your next song.
Yes.
This is track 2. This is Cypress Hill.
Yes.
Insane in the Brain.
Yes. Okay. I actually chose this because my dad he's not even like a big rap guy or like music guy really, but every time that song would play, he references it all the time. He would sing this one very specific part with the cops come and try to snatch my crops. And I always even as a kid, I thought it was the funniest thing ever. And so every time we'd be walking or we'd be doing something, he's like, "Oh, not these cops gonna try to snatch my crops. These pigs trying to blow my house down." I just thought that was the funniest thing. So even now when we're in the car and that song will come on, the radio, the normal radio or something, he will do it all the time. He'll be like, Phoebe, wait, Phoebe, look. So I think it means a lot to me, and it has an emotional.
Do you understand what the crops refers to now?
I was assuming it was a racially motivated thing, like cops, pigs trying to blow my house down, crops. I don't know what.
I think what he means by crops is that he has probably, because I think Cypress Hill has been known for being they're very pro smoking marijuana.
Oh,
so the crops.
Cops going to try to snatch my crops.
So the one that he has in his house, in his abode. So I think that's what
That's really funny.
referring to.
Tell my dad. I always like the pigs trying to blow my house down. The way he says it too always kills me. It's something I hold very close to my heart.
The listening to rap now, especially for you, it's almost, I don't want it to diminish it by making it sound like it's mainstream, but it's definitely more accepted, more free, more kind of open.
Yeah.
Whereas in the late 70s, early 80s, it was definitely a more subculture music. So you would have, some of the early old school, even I would probably even say like before the Beastie Boys and LL Cool J, Run DMC, it was still kind of alternative like punk. So it was very much a something that the mainstream world would never accept. But now they're, because it's broken through so many barriers, with so many artists, including people like Eminem, who's, kind of definitely pushed it to the boundaries and again, it hasn't had to compromise too much. So if you think about like rap as a genre with the language and maybe having more where it's censored because of explicit, it still can speak its mind, but it's definitely more I don't want to say it accepted in a bad way, because I think it's still edgy and it still has a lot of like, kind of rawness to it, but it's definitely, it's there, and it's an official music genre.
I think that like that big change from like how it used to be to how rap is now has like led a lot of people to like diminishing the genre as a whole. Like I've met people my age at least who are like, oh, I don't listen to rap. It's like it's too much. It's blah blah blah. And I think that might just have to come from like the lack of like trying it and maybe only like seeing what you see in the media instead of like exploring that a little bit. I like rap. It's not my most listened genre, but I definitely have explored it, and I think it's really cool what you can do with that.
Yeah. And I think you see it a lot of crossover now, which I really like. I like when you see rap and jazz, rap and rock, rap and punk, rap and skate, and even rap and country, which
is a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. I think rap in relation to like skating is really cool. That culture. I obviously like I haven't been around it or been a part of it because it's kind of like not the same as it used to be. Like it used to be pretty big in the 90s, early 2000s. But I've watched movies like with that setting, and I just think it's like not jealous. I'm not jealous, but it's cool. I think it's cool. But there's also downsides with like everything.
For sure. How do you feel social media plays a role in art, music, and film nowadays?
I think like it's one of the four legs of the chair. If you say like social media has influenced me a lot, and like algorithm like pushes certain types of art and certain types of music and movies to you that like, so it can be really good, but it can also be really bad because you can like stay in this cycle of the same thing and like not really push outside of that, or you could find some really cool stuff that you never would have found before.
Yeah. I think you have to take the good and the bad with it. When you're looking at especially some of the platforms that are giving you short clips, because there's sometimes some interesting art that comes out of that, and they're creating stuff where it's more just kind of guerrilla type of art.
Yeah.
Whether it's little clips of film or stuff, and you get raw comedy. You don't have to feel like this is being forced through the corporation meat grinder. And then sometimes the meat grinder will give you, their version of stuff that's trying to be hip or fresh, and they put it. And so you have to clear the noise between, and you have to just follow what's guiding you.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'll see like certain, especially in fashion too, like there's a lot of trends that I'm just like, what are we doing? But then some I'm like, wow, I think this could be something, and this could stick, and I like what this is saying and what it's doing. I also think like with social media, with like the attention span, it is like led people to like not want to engage in types of art, and they would rather keep like having their regurgitatable.
Yeah.
I'm not saying anybody better. I do that too, as well as like I'm sure it's like a thing in my generation. And I'm trying not to. I'm trying to swim through the waters of things I might be bored with, or because I think it's good to be bored sometimes.
Yeah, but I think with boredom comes art, because through that you're not just settled and there's not enough distraction there that you just get stuck on. So through that you can think, okay, well, this is a time for me not to just be stuck in the mush of this. I can go and create, I can go and find other art, I can be able to. And sometimes nowadays I think there is this you get a little bit of a nudge with algorithms that are passing stuff that you like, so other things which you could potentially like. And I think half the time it's good, because I mean, I don't know, for music streaming I've got into new bands because of other bands that I've liked, because they feel like their influences are these bands. So for sure that's been helpful, because I'm really impressed with the new bands that I'm getting turned on to and stuff like that. But at the same time, you want to avoid, you still need that radar to avoid the rubbish.
Yeah, for sure. Totally. I think it's very also, like, social media persuades so many opinions. It's crazy with, like, something, if you take a certain thing seriously and it's kind of silly, you'll be kind of like what are you doing? Which I can get to an extent, but at some point it's just making this environment where no one can explore themselves creatively without feeling like cringe or something. And I hate that, because I think it's important to be like a little cringe, at least at some point in your life. I know I was, I know I still am sometimes, but
that's part of figuring it out. I think looking at some of my, when I had hair, haircuts that I had, was kind of embarrassing, but not to the point where I felt like, this is ridiculous. I think it's all a part about expression and finding yourself. If you look at somebody who's probably one of the most photographed person in the world, like David Beckham, and the amount of different haircuts and hairstyles and outfits he's brought, and he's a very fashion forward kind of person, and he just never was always true to himself in a way. I think that's somebody who, you can, I respect him for that. I'm not a big fan of, or as a footballer, but it's just like, I still feel like he was true to himself. So again, I think we always have to figure out certain genres, certain looks that we try out. And you got artists that are amazing who've done that over the years, like Madonna, David Bowie. They've tried out so many styles, so many things, for the art's sake, for fun's sake, for just, and not felt like they've taken themselves too serious in any of that.
Yeah, that's great. I don't think I take myself very seriously, and I always think it's good to be a little silly with yourself.
Yeah, for
so
sure.
You're not too hard. And I think it's a great thing to be able to do that, and that we can do that.
Yeah. Let's go to track 3. This is The Sundays.
The Sundays, yes.
You're Not the Only One.
Yes. I love this song so much. This is the song that got me into the Sundays. Like, a few years ago, I remember me and my mom, we were going on a trip to Austin, just me and her, in a tiny, 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 tiny house in someone's yard.
Okay.
As an Airbnb. And we were driving there, and I was showing her music, and that was the one I showed her. I don't know if she liked it or not, but I remember playing it like at least 3 times because I was so obsessed with that song.
Yeah.
And I even listened to it when we were in a tiny random lady's yard, and the nature was so beautiful. There was like a little stream and like trees, and I thought it was awesome. I always associate it with that trip. And I remember showing it to my brother, and he loved it, and then he got into the Sundays as well because of that. So
you turned your brother on to the Sundays.
Yes, I did.
Sweet.
Which I think is really funny, because
that's very cool.
At first when I show him things, he's like, oh, okay. And then later I'll see him post about it, and I'm like, yeah.
So just so you know, I saw them. I got their first, the first 12-inch, Can't Be Sure, when it came out. They were a big hype in the UK, and I was still in New Orleans then. And so I got the single, 12-inch single of the vinyl. And then I remember the album coming out, and by then maybe CDs were still a big thing too. So I got the CD, and then they came to New Orleans. They did a U.S. tour, and they played in New Orleans at this smaller venue called Tipitina's. For those who know Tipitina's, it's a great venue, but it's not super huge. It's not like an arena, so it maybe can hold 2,000 to 4,000 people. I don't remember now off the top of my head, but anyway, and it was like their first North American tour, and they were just, it was great. So it was off the album with this song on it, and I just remember we played that whole album to death. And they were a mix of, and probably they got this a lot, which I think it's a good compliment to say, the Smiths and the Cocteau Twins. If you
Totally.
marry those two together, that's kind of what the Sundays were. You can kind of hear the words a little bit better. You know, you can understand the lyrics, but her harmonies were trying to be very kind of Liz Fraser, and just a great sound. The guitar melodies were very melodic.
Voice is insane.
Yeah.
And I can't believe you saw them live. Wow, that's so cool. I think I would pass out if I heard that song.
I don't think they're playing anymore. I think they kind of went.
No,
She had children and then decided to kind of morph into something else. It's a shame because I think lyrically and vocally, and her partner was the guitarist, so they were a couple.
Yeah, I think it's.
And they were so good together.
Awesome. That's really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. Wow.
So what kind of stuff are your teachers? What are they kind of helping you with in terms of your acting teachers? What are they pushing you towards? Is it like, are they trying to have you study older stuff? Are they telling you, like, are you working with commercials, with just skits?
They have like the classes separated up a little bit. There's one that they do every week, which is an improv class. I really enjoy that class. I'm the youngest person in that class.
Wow.
Which is kind of weird, but there's this teenage class I'm also in.
So the improv class has adults?
Yes.
As well, and you're the youngest in that.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool, I think. The teacher, she's really cool. She's been doing it for a while. She's very spunky. She's very interesting. She's very big on obviously all the improv stuff, like looking good for the camera, coming up with something, like being good for your fellow people doing acting. And I think there's something so amazing, like getting to work with older actors or people who do that, because it's like this, like, I'll notice it in movies I watch too. It's like this guidance thing of one person carrying the scene and like kind of guiding the other person on like what to do, but in a way that still gives them like wiggle room. And I really enjoy that, and I enjoy getting to do that with people who are older. I am the one with other teenagers, which is fun. It's cool. It is really cool. I have a harder time like feeling less. I feel more nervous around people my age.
Really?
So I end up not performing as well.
Oh wow, that's interesting.
I know. I don't know why.
But I think it's really interesting. You're saying having the working off of the energy of an older person who's acting or trying, like working with you, is you're kind of having that different dynamic than if it's a peer, somebody similar your age that you two are just like, in the same situation. And I think about so many movies, and you see so many great younger actors with older actors, and the way that the energy and how they do play off each other is really, I mean, a lot of times I would say there's a great
I think a really good example of that is like There'll Be Blood with Daniel Day-Lewis and Paul Dano. I think their screen chemistry is insane, and you can tell like in certain scenes, especially like the last one, not to spoil, even though it's been out for like longer than I've been alive.
We can spoil it now. If you haven't seen it now, you shouldn't be. Yeah.
The whole like the bowling alley, I could kind of tell, like I have the screenplay, like because I'm a dork about that movie. You can kind of tell that Daniel Day-Lewis is pushing Paul Dano to do more, and I really like that. And I think it really added a lot to the scene and the movie. And that was like one of Paul Dano's like first like big serious roles, like before Little Miss Sunshine. So I thought, and it's a Paul Thomas Anderson movie too. So it's like working with all these big, well-known guys.
Yeah.
It's got to be super scary, but still like showing up and working and having the screen chemistry, I think is awesome. So cool.
But I think it's also, as a younger actor, maybe you're not under the same pressure, like you said, because you're not so intimidated by Daniel Day-Lewis as Daniel Day-Lewis. You might be intimidated because you know that this is a well-known older actor that you're working with, but it's not as much as, say, if you thought, okay, well, here's a peer who I'm close to the same age, and maybe, I don't know who else is the same age as Paul Dano, but somebody who's close to his age, and then it's like, okay, I'm going to be in a scene with him, and so there's more of a competitiveness there.
Totally.
Even if it's not meant to be, direct competitiveness, you still feel that, okay, is he better than me because he's my age, or am I better than, whereas most people who are younger actors would not feel, oh, I'm not as good as Daniel Day-Lewis. They kind of just assume because of, and again, I think that's a presumption, but it takes some of the pressure off.
Yeah, totally. I think that's also why I like working with, playing with more, really, with older people. Like there's this person in my class who's like 45. There's this one guy who's like 70. And I just think it's really, it feels easier for me.
That's really interesting. But it puts a good perspective and shares like I wouldn't have thought about that, how if I had to act with another person similar in age, that I would feel more nervous compared to somebody who would be older or younger, for that matter. Now maybe it's a good perspective on that. Excellent.
Thanks.
Let's go to track 4. This is a band which, again, I told you I didn't know them, but I like this sound. It's very kind of raw. Pinky Promise.
Yes.
I wish that you would die.
It's
get to the point.
Yeah, it's a local band from Houston, actually.
Oh, cool.
Showed me the song by them, and I was just like, I really liked it. It's not necessarily that I think it's the greatest song in the world, but I used to like really like that song and like their stuff, and I was surprised they didn't have more listeners or like more followers. And I found out they were from Houston, and I remember one time I was with my dad at this Mexican restaurant. Shout out Chewy's. I'm walking to the bathroom, and I see this. The album cover is a picture of them.
Yeah.
I'm walking, and I see these like people with like dyed red hair, and I'm like, no way. And then I walk back, and it's Pinky Promise sitting at the Chewy's, and I was like, and this is like when I was like obsessing over like this band. I couldn't believe they were so close, and I was just like, no way. So I waved at them, and I think they saw me, and I walked off to my dad, and I was like, Dad, guess what? And they were all dressed up too, like exactly like it felt like a dream or something.
Yeah, they were in their kind of their gear.
I was to their like, I think their Instagram or TikTok of like one of the people in the band, and I was like, I saw you guys at Chewy's. And they're like, no way, blah, blah, blah. And I just remember that interaction. It felt so cool because I was like, yeah, I saw these people in the Chewy's, even though they're like not that like big or anything. I don't know what they're doing now, but at least at the time, I was just totally like. I remember driving home and I was calling my brother because he showed me their music. I was like, Max, you'll never believe who I just saw at the Chewy's. Sounds like an opening to like a bad joke, but yeah, I felt like I had to add that because that was like a weird point in my life and a weird experience.
But was it good to get to see a band that you kind of were into and get to see them like close up, and kind of just bumping into them, and it's not almost not a big deal because they are local, so that's cool. But at the same time, it's you have this kind of wow, they're a big band, but at the same time, they're just going. They got to get food too.
Yeah, I was assuming it was after a show or something because they were all there. And Chewy's is really good, so I don't blame them. But not sponsored. But
Yeah.
I
Take Chewy's if they want to sponsor the podcast. So shout out to Chewy.
so good.
Get some local Houston representatives. What does their school colleagues feel like? Do they know you're taking acting? And
I don't talk about it often, actually. They have a theater thing that I'm not in. I don't know. I just don't like my close friends know about it because I have like stories from like certain classes.
Mhm.
Like one of my teachers knows just because she's a theater teacher, so I was like telling her about it. But like really not. I don't know. I don't think I'm at that point where I can like be like, let me take acting classes for an agency. It just feels like
would you do any of the plays in school?
their productions are small, and I don't know. I can't see myself having fun, and you stay really late, and I can't see myself because I go to school with these people every day,
Mhm.
which is like you're going to see people all the time, but it's like when it's I don't know. I feel like it would make things weird for me,
Yeah.
and I would just not like it, and I'd get tired of it, and then
Yeah.
even though I know I love acting a lot, I feel like that would make me think that I don't like acting, and I just wouldn't want to do it anymore. But
I did one play in high school, and I was a freshman, and it was Huck Finn, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn,
my God,
and I was the third tree on the left. No, I was Huck's gang, so I didn't have that many speaking roles or whatever, but it was pretty fun to do. It was, I think it was it was a boys' school that I went to.
that's really cool.
But they did have some of the other girl schools that they would be in the play because they had girl parts. It wasn't Shakespearean where I don't.
That's funny.
But that was really interesting, and it kind of gave me a good snapshot as to, and I did want to do more because I did like it, and I think I would have been much more nervous if I had more lines and things like that. But at the time, it was just more difficult because the school was pretty far away from where I lived. So getting rides and stuff back then was more difficult.
Oh, I bet.
But it was actually really fun, and to this day, the the story of Huck Finn is really interesting, and I find it Mark Twain, is something that's still
Yeah, totally. That's awesome.
still relevant today, I think.
What can I ask what year this was?
1983. So it was a high school production. But I don't, it was I think we had about 30 people in the in the troupe that, and it was my teacher who suggested I should do it because I didn't try out for it. Wasn't gonna try out for it. I had no I was getting into music and a little bit into punk, but not yet really heavy. And he suggested that he thinks, well, you would be, because I think I had a fine art class with him, and then he was another one of my teachers, and he was like, I think you should be in the play. Why didn't you come and try out? I was like, I don't know. So it was me and one of my other good friends, and who's a musician who played in bands with after, and he was in the play with me and stuff. And then I don't think he continued. He may have did another play after that, but it was fun. It's like, again, it's good experience and good to just kind of dip your toe in as well. So
That's really cool. And you said it was an all boys school?
that I went to beginning, and then I switched schools the year after that, and then it was kind of a mixed school with co-ed.
God, I would totally do theater if we had like a bigger budget and better. Not to say that budget's what matters, but it's nobody really. I mean, people go. I mean, I've only been to a few of the
Local
shows my
stuff.
school puts on. Yeah, I think theater's awesome. I love how expressive you can be, and I love like the whole like pre-theater show like environment. I think it's like a community, and I think it's awesome. Huckleberry Finn sounds cool. The ones that I've been like having to do, I wasn't interested in, and I wouldn't want to like dedicate a big portion of my time to.
No, I mean, I think back then they obviously had certain ones that were kind of on the list to do. I don't remember what the one after that was, but I did. There was always a few similar ones that the schools or similar schools would do,
Yeah.
and they had classics that I guess they tried to do and stuff like that. So, I don't know. It was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Let's come to track 5. This is the fact that you know this band and because they're quite a strong female band back in the 50s, I guess they were, the Shirelles.
Yes.
And the song Soldier Boy, which is a very interesting one by them too.
This is more of a recent one, actually. I like old 60s, 50s, what was it? 50s, 60s, something like that.
Yeah. Maybe late 50s, 60s.
Yeah, music from that time. And I love the sound of it, and I love the vocals from it. And I chose that one specifically because me and my friend, actually, I don't know what it was. It was like an earworm in my ear for a long time, was that song. And I don't know, I just would constantly sing it, and my friend like caught on to it. Making the jokes relating it to like Soldier Boy, like the rapper, Soldier Boy. But we ended up going to see a movie, Paul Thomas Anderson, One Ball After Another, in theaters, and there's a scene with that song in it. And I'm not gonna spoil that one because it's more recent, but it's a crazy, crazy scene. This is after like 2 weeks of us like humming the song to each other. We had no idea it was gonna be in this movie.
Wow.
And this intense thing comes and it plays, and we're just like, we're freaking out.
A song.
No way. And then like 2 weeks after that, we keep saying it in reference to the scene on screen, which is crazy. It is crazy, and it is crazy to have that song with that scene. It was something to do with like a gun and a gun. So take with that what you will.
Yeah, okay. I think music in films has such it complements the film and the acting so well, because it makes scenes, and not just songs like the Shirelles, but the actual scores and the music composers.
Insane.
Because one of my good friends, he's a composer, and so when he hears like they're putting a song, actual song in there, it annoys him because he wants it should be all composed. But I think there's a balance of everything, because that movie Jaws would never be Jaws if you didn't have that beginning kind of exactly.
Yeah.
And things like that, or The Exorcist, or some of these other that had
iconic ones. Like this newer movie, Bugonia, Yargos Lanthimos, the score in that was crazy, and it had like this like overtone of like bees humming in it to like go with like the whole like beekeeper-ish theme. Max also really loved it. He was like, the score's insane. This is my brother. I think it adds so much. Like the score, I need to learn more about scores. I think they're really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know more about music in general. I think I've just been like kind of like touch with a stick.
One of my heroes when it comes to like in films, scores and stuff is Ennio Morricone. I mean, stuff from The Good, the Bad, the Ugly with Clint Eastwood to spaghetti westerns to all these other Italian films that he's done. So many. I think Once Upon a Time in the West was, I think, his and stuff. But he's had such really cool from films that are a bit more obscure or kind of noir, and has this kind of loungy sound. And it was just the music, you could listen to that separate to those films and take it away, and it's just so brilliant.
Wait, I watched a movie with my friends recently, and the music, I don't know if it counts as a score. I don't think, maybe it does. I think they wrote the music for it, if that's what that means. I don't know. I'm not educated on like music, so, but I wish I was.
But I forget who is. It's Sofia Coppola. Her film, The Virgin Suicides. The band Air did most of the soundtrack to the score of that. So it's their soundtrack that was used throughout. So it's more modern music score. So you don't have to have a more traditional like orchestra and whatnot.
I think that's a good example with this tennis movie I watched, and we ended up listening to the score of it while we played tennis. I feel like it enhanced the game totally. It's Zendaya, Challengers.
Mhm.
I've been really loving that movie lately. I watched it recently, and I've just like it's. I like the director too.
Yeah.
I forgot how to pronounce his name. It's Italian, but no, Greek. I don't know.
The recent movie that you.
Yeah, it came out 2024.
What is it? The Challenge?
Challengers.
The Challenges. Yeah, I haven't seen it.
It's. I don't know if you'll like it. I mean, maybe it's kind of.
Is there a character that you've come up with that you want to play that's very, when you're acting or creating a character, is that something like you want to be different from yourself? It's like kind of a new version of, or do you just kind of go from within and stay there?
Definitely thought about it. I don't know. I've never really. I would have to like actually get out there and try it and like see what the. I think it would also depend the situation. I think I have a habit of like doing things kind of similar that match my tone and my personality. Like not necessarily me, but like the tone of my voice, and do things that go well with that. But I would totally love to do something totally different than what I am, or what I think I am. Like, there's so many things I would like love to do, but I definitely think I would have to actually be in like a setting, a real professional setting where I'm given something and work from there.
Push yourself in something outside of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's come to track 6. This is Devi McCallion.
Yes. Okay.
I want things to be beautiful.
Yes. So Devi McCallion, I think I don't know how to pronounce her last name. McCallion, Devi McCallion. She's a newer artist, and she's been like in a lot of groups. And I don't listen to her stuff really. I've just that song. I remember it came on my Spotify recommendations, and I showed Max in the car, and he was like weirded out at first. He was like, because it is edgier, and it's definitely got like a certain like talky vibe to it. And I was showing Max, and he was just like, my brother, and he was just like, oh. But then later I see him post that song to his story, and then he said he got all of his friends on that song too.
Okay.
And in that moment I was just like,
sounds like another one that we had to turn Max on to.
Yeah, Max doesn't want to admit it, but I put him on a lot of stuff, and he puts me on stuff. It's like a mutual exchange.
Yeah. That's good.
Which is always fun. She's kind of I don't want to say experimental, but some of her stuff, like depending on what group she's in. And it's all very like almost Valley Girl sounding. If it was like a Valley Girl stoner.
This song had a little bit of a pop sound to me, but at the same time, it wasn't like bubblegum.
Yeah.
It was a little bit more edgy, a little bit more. Like, you could hear there was more behind it.
Yeah. The voice is so recognizable. Like I'll hear a group I didn't know she was in, and I hear the voice, and I look it up. I'm like, oh, okay, that's her.
Yeah.
That's her. Yeah, she's done a lot, which I think is super cool. I think she's still making music. Right. But I don't know. I'd have to check.
You also mentioned fashion. So how does fashion fit into all of this? With is this also a part of like acting, with creating different types of styles and outfits?
I think it's totally intertwined. I think a lot of people see fashion as like something superficial and material, because when they think of fashion, they think of like Kardashians, Prada, like blah blah blah. But I really think there's something so amazing to it, and like it doesn't even necessarily need to like look good. It could mean something. It's totally an art in itself. I love when movies have a good costume designer. I think it could totally ruin an entire movie if the wardrobe isn't good. Like some of the most recognizable characters in movies have that because of the wardrobe and the style and the aesthetic of the whole thing. Yeah. And I love making mood boards with music and fashion and pictures.
Wow, that's super cool.
It's kind of like modern day scrapbooking almost.
So are you trying to match the music of a certain time, like a certain, like, say this is from, I don't know, 2020 music, and having kind of that same genre at the same time, or would you mix it with older stuff or older music with newer fashion?
Totally depends on the person who's making it. Like there's like a whole community out there who it's like it's very specific too. If there's no real like telling of like what makes a good mood board and what doesn't, because it
Okay.
depends the person. I guess if you like use common regurgitated image, that could be seen as like
So how do you make your mood boards?
kind of silly because it's just kind of like a little hobby. I have an account where I post them, but um, I love Pinterest and you can even like Google. It's like some things that you wouldn't think are like pretty or aesthetic, but you can like put it together in a certain way or pattern. And I love patterns
Mm-hmm.
with the music almost, and the music doesn't have to match, but it can match in its own way, which isn't obvious.
Yeah.
I like putting pictures of like architecture and nature and just certain celebrities I like, and a lot of different things could
Yeah.
go into it. It's kind of like a weird, I can't put into words, but if you can see it, you can see it.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. I remember trying to play around with a video recorder and having like recording stuff from the TV, but then putting in the audio music from like a cassette, so that I would be changing whatever. It could have been a cartoon, and then I'm putting some indie band or something like that, and I'm trying to change the whole of the song to follow something. And I remember one time it just fit so well, like this song by this band, and I remember having this weird cartoon that was in black and white, and it just kind of blended. And I didn't realize I was just recording. Back then, I didn't have editing equipment or anything really advanced. So this was just whatever's on TV, you can switch around. Nowadays, there's so many great editing tools that you can make art with. Same like you're saying, you can take the music that you want and kind of create your own visual soundboards and stuff like that. I think that's so cool.
Love it. I try to get better at editing. I used to. I was not good. It's just timing and like rhythm with pictures and stuff. I think that's so cool, the music thing. I kind of did something similar, but like obviously I could like import clips and put music over it.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a blessing. I'm so glad I get to do that and I get to have that. It's so fun. It's you don't really, I mean, like you can know what you're doing without having words for it.
Yeah.
And like you can put it out there and like people that like get it and like it, they'll like it and they'll comment, they'll be like, yes, I get this. Even though there's not really anything to get. It's kind of weird in that way.
Yeah. But it's like, I do think you're right when you mentioned about costume designers and how they make films. And I mean, you think about something like Charlotte, my wife, she loves like the 20s era.
Me too.
With the dresses, the way that, the Charleston and all that kind of stuff, and The Great Gatsby. If you've seen the remake with Leonardo DiCaprio, and just incredible, like the style, the way that they use. If you look at the first one, which was, I think they had a lot of great style with the Robert Redford, and then this one, it was just incredible how they kind of put that together, and you're so right. It just makes the film.
Totally, like not to bring up There Will Be Blood again, but like I noticed the everything down to the stitching and it looks so like directly pulled from that time period and like no polyester in sight.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's super, super awesome 1920s stuff when people can do period pieces and get it like to the T, and they can even like find actors that like look and not like do the makeup right and do everything right, and not just what looks good, but what is like historically right. I think is
exactly
super cool. It's not always needed, but I think it can work.
We're gonna get to track 7.
Track 7.
This is Charli XCX.
Yes, Charli XCX.
Ready for you.
I love Charli XCX. She came out with a mockumentary recently.
Okay.
Which I haven't seen, but I'm going to. And Party for You was, I think, a newer.
This is a new one for me. I told you I never heard of her. So, but you played another song in the car that I listened to, and that was pretty cool too.
She's from the UK.
Mm-hmm.
British, and she does a lot of club music, and I love that. I love British club music. It's so fun. But Pray for You is like it got really popular on the internet, and I was listening to it, and I had a friend come over, and we were like both obsessed with this song and both loved Charli XCX. So we put on a playlist with that, and that was on it. We were swimming, and it was so much fun. And I love the chorus. I don't know. I don't want to like say that, and it's not right, but um, I love how Charli XCX can do like this switch between like hyper girly almost and like sassy to like something that is really beautiful, I think, and works well in multiple settings. I know a lot of people would disagree, like, but I think it's something really cool. And I haven't seen that friend since then, though, which kind of sucks. But
Oh, wow.
you know, things happen. People go their own ways. But I'm glad. I don't feel sad when I hear that song. I feel it's like it's a good song,
Yeah.
and it's
It's a good memory to have, right? Keep that.
totally for sure.
What, like when you meet new people, or you're talking to people, whether it's in school or in other times, like what are they surprised about when they meet you? Like what do you explain or share that surprises them?
Maybe like, well, usually my age. Either people think I'm younger or older than I am. Like, I'll be like, "Oh, I'm 15," and they're like, "Oh, what?" They usually don't, so
Okay.
maybe that's why. Maybe it's the way I act. I don't know. I think a lot of 15-year-olds act the way I act, so I don't. It's weird. Maybe people are also surprised that like I don't know. Some of the music I like, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe my personality. I don't know.
But I think that's also when, like, I remember going to friends' house when I was younger, and back then you couldn't just check their phone and say, "Let me see your Spotify list" or something like that, or even your old Apple iTunes list or something. Whereas we would have to go through and check our friends, or if I was a girl I liked, I'd go to her house and check her records and stuff
That's
like
so
that.
funny.
You'd be like, okay, she has this record, like, oh. And otherwise, you'd be like, oh, she's cool. I like that. I like that. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of how you would get to.
So, no, it's like very gritty. Not gritty, but like gritty. I think it's oh, that's so awesome. I'll see like some of my friends have physical albums, and I'll be like, "Whoa, you like blah blah blah," that I wouldn't have known because we just haven't talked about it.
Yeah.
Which is fun. It is fun, and I'm glad I got to experience like the slightest tad bit of that.
So I guess on social media, people can tend to like more things that you find out or see, like if you follow them or something, you're like, okay, so I know what you like because you like that. And you're like, okay, so I kind of get more of a snapshot into who some of your interest is and stuff like that.
Post like you can put music behind posts,
Mm-hmm.
like on your like Instagram note or something.
Yeah.
Like Instagram notes it helps me keep up with what my friends are listening to, or what they like. Like I got this app called like Airbuds where you can see what your friends are listening to.
Okay.
It's fun. I don't use it often, but when I do, it's cute, and my friends can see what I'm listening to. No pressure, but a little bit of pressure.
Yeah.
But it's fun, and I'm glad I get to like have all this new technological advancements, so I can bond with more people on that level.
Let's go to track 8. This is Luke Bryan. Sunrise, sunburn, sunset.
Repeat.
It's
so I actually hate this song.
I was gonna say, this is the first country song we've had. Living in Texas, I thought it's just a staple to at least like some version of country.
Music I do, just not this one.
Not this one.
It's I remember it would come on the radio. My dad would always put on the country channel. This song would be on every other song for some reason.
The storyline is something like, I was listening to it. We went to your uncle, your father's got this lake house, and then he let us crash there for a few weeks or something like that. Okay.
Dad would like, sing it. He has this like thing where he whistles, or like my dad well, I think it's a purposely he sings bad.
Okay.
Or maybe I don't, no shade, but he'll sing that and it's like my ears. I remember hating it so much as a kid, but I remember bonding with him about it because he would bring it up and
Is this one of his favorites, or just because it's on the radio, he'll just go with it?
just because it's on the radio, like he doesn't. If it was one of his favorites, I wouldn't be like hating on it as vocally as I am.
I think we both know he likes Dave Matthews a lot.
Yes.
Don't tell anybody.
I do like Dave Matthews. I think it's good. I think he has good music taste. But he knew I hated that song, and he thought it was the funniest thing ever because I'd be like, no, turn it off, turn it. I forgot about it until recently, and I was just like, I don't know. It's like a pet peeve, that song in general.
Yeah.
No shade to Luke Bryan or anything, but
it's sometimes these songs that you just it catches you and you're not interested in it, and then it just always comes on and you keep hearing it and stuff like that.
As well, I was also an earworm for a little bit. So always the songs you don't like,
right? And then you just find yourself singing it or humming it or something like that.
And you're like, darn. It's.
And this was a big popular hit here in Houston, or just on the radio?
I'm sure, like, I had a friend whose dad, and she was super into country. She knew it, but I don't know if that's just like a normal thing or just because she liked country music.
Yeah.
I think it's. I don't know. It's not like now looking at it, it's not the worst song in the world, but it just irks me for some reason. It irks me because it's just like, I feel like they're all talking about the same thing and like that specific genre of country. Not all country, but that one specifically.
Yeah.
And it's like the most stereotypical sunrise, sunburn, sunset, repeat. But I don't make it seem like I don't like country because I do. Right. I appreciate it as a genre a lot. I think a lot of people are like, I don't like country because they only hear the stuff that's like on the radio.
Usually. You can find good stuff out there.
I think there's a lot of gems in it that you got to look for. But
you got a big trip coming up in a few months.
Dude.
This first time you got your passport?
Yes, I got my passport.
Which sadly, a lot of Americans don't have passports.
They don't. No. I didn't until now.
But that's okay. That's still
16 passport. That's crazy.
I think I was over 18 or 19 before I got my passport. So
really,
you're younger than me getting it. So you're going to the United Kingdom.
Yes, I am. We're going to London for a school trip. I've never left the country before. I haven't been to that many states even, honestly. So this is gonna be like.
Right.
I feel like I'm going to come back a different person.
Well, I think in general travel, you don't come back the same person when you go. Even if you don't like where you go or it's not your cup of tea, no pun for the Brits, but you'll still, there's some kind of learning from it. And it just gives you more perspective.
And I'm going alone with like my school.
Right. How many will be with you in the group?
Most of the school, honestly. It's a small school, 25 kids. So I'm going to say about like 12.
Okay. 12 are going?
Maybe more. I don't know. Okay. And someone from last year, my friend from last year is also going. I'm so excited. All my friends are going.
That's cool. You're also going outside of London to Stonehenge, right? Is that?
Yes, we are going to Stonehenge.
Okay. I've driven past it once, but I never stopped and looked at it. But I was in the vicinity of it and kind of drove past and saw it.
6-year-old me is like super excited to see that because my poppy would always turn on Ancient Aliens. And it would always be like, Stonehenge was built by extraterrestrial life.
Right, exactly.
And I think it's really funny. I'm excited. I'm also excited. Me and my friends said we were going to do our worst British accent possible when like communicating. So we'll be like, oh, where's my ice in my drink and my air conditioning, something like that. Not to like harass service workers or anything, but
yeah, just ask for ice. That'll be Americans. Yeah, it's hot. But are you going to be like going to museums or galleries?
Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot. They're doing this spray painting thing with like Banksy.
Okay.
Something in regards to that, and we're going to see Abbey Lane. Is that what it's called? Abbey Lane?
Abbey Road.
Abbey Road.
Yeah.
Abbey Road. We're going there, and we're seeing a lot of stuff. I think we're gonna be there for 2 weeks.
Oh wow, okay, that's a long trip.
It's a long trip, so I'm excited for what I'm gonna wear. I'm excited for getting to bond with my friends. Like I feel like that'll make everyone a lot closer.
For sure.
I love my friends a lot. I think they're super, super awesome, and I'm so lucky to like have the friends that I do. But yeah, I can't believe that I'm going, actually.
I think there'll be a lot of exciting stuff to see. I think there'll be a lot of things that are going to be, it's going to be a little bit like New York.
Yeah.
Like if you go to New York City, but then it'll be a little bit different, and there'll be a lot of things that you'll just notice that are different and similar. But it'll be when you get to go to some of the architecture, the museums.
So excited.
There's going to be so much incredible stuff that you can see.
A camera.
Yeah.
I'm
for sure
totally stoked.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've had friends who are like super well traveled for some reason, like lived in France for 2 years, Kazakhstan for 4 years. So they're gonna be like, some of them have been there before, but some haven't. I'm excited to experience that with.
Yeah, but you'll be kind of seeing it from a different perspective because you're going to be together as a group and everything like that.
Yeah.
And this is a good segue to track 9.
Track
with the almighty Iggy Pop.
Iggy Pop. Speaking of London.
Lust for Life.
Yes, Lust for Life. I love that song specifically because of a movie. We're talking about
Trainspotting.
Yes, of course.
All right. That was good. I remember it like as a kid, but then I remember it from Trainspotting. That was like it kind of jogged it back.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Trainspotting. I've seen it like maybe 6 times or something.
Yeah. It was a big breakthrough movie with a lot of the cast. I think it was one of Ewan McGregor's first movies. I think he was in another Danny Boyle movie before that about something Graves or something.
Played Obi-Wan.
Well, that was later on.
Yeah.
But I think I forget what the movie was called. It's a great movie. If you haven't seen it with Danny Boyle, you should see that movie too because it was excellent. Shallow Graves or something like that with Ewan McGregor. He's really good. And then you had the guy Sick Boy.
Sick Boy. Oh, I love Sick Boy.
He's been in quite a bit of American stuff for a while, and then Spuds, and then what's his name? Oh, the Bexby.
Bexby. Yes.
His character he's been on some great stuff too as an actor. So really, they were all incredible cast.
When I'm watching a movie like that and I think of the actors, I'm like, I wonder what their conversations were like talking about the script and the characters and how they wanted to go about it and how they wanted to deliver certain things. Like, Ewan McGregor, I thought, did an incredible job. The opening scene where he's running with Iggy Pop playing, I love it. I think it's perfect use of that. I don't know if it would have like landed as much as it did if they chose something else. Maybe it would have. I haven't seen it with something else, but
no, I think the music soundtrack to Trainspotting is one of my favorites. Yeah. I would say it's probably in the top 20 of movie soundtracks, like with music.
Yeah.
The way that they fit all of these songs in there. Yeah, I mean, Lou Reed's Perfect Day is one of my favorites.
The ending song to Nuts. Underworld, yeah.
Yeah. Born Slippy.
Slippy, yeah.
Slippy. That's great.
It kind of fits into my like fascination with like club music.
Yeah. And it's great how, it's in Scotland, obviously, and just a lot of the dialect is quite hard to get. I think they're in Glasgow, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not. And then the end of the movie, he kind of escapes down to London with the money and stuff. It was a pretty... it's a great story, and I've read the book by Irvin Welsh.
Really?
Back in the day, and I had a couple of other books by him that he wrote. And he's actually tied music to his books a lot. He's a big into music as well, and so I think Danny Boyle captured it really, really well with.
Totally, and I had someone come to our school from Scotland, and I was like, every time we talked, I was like, It's like Trainspotting. It's like Trainspotting. I also think it had a big obviously it had a cultural impact, but I thought the movie was very political in a way. In regards to like the Spud, specifically Spud and Sick Boy, all the characters I thought were really good representations of different parts of that. Obviously, I never grew up in Scotland in the 90s, or 80s, 90s, but
It's a very harsh look at drug taking and drug use, and so it's quite scary.
Look at it too.
Yeah. So it's definitely like a dark comedy, in terms of what the film was done, but it's I think there are pockets of places in the world like that, and that you see that, but I think they tied it into just a little bit of humor as much as they could. But
at first, when I watched it, I thought the movie was purely about the whole drug thing, but now that I look at it, I think it's less about the drugs and more like they use that as like an anchor to represent like
the political time of that.
Political, yeah, especially with like the court scene where he gets off free and then his friend gets arrested. I thought that was really interesting. I just love that movie. Totally, I could talk about it for hours, but I won't. So
yeah, no, it's and it is great because I think they use Iggy Pop and songs from this, like around this time. He has this Lust for Life and The Passenger, I think, is off the same album, which were some great songs, and just for people to revisit that, because there were certain songs by the Stooges that I was really into early on, and then I kind of fell off, not really listening to a lot of his catalog. But it was Iggy Pop's got so many great songs on the solo stuff too. So it kind of like brought him back into my scope, which is my own fault. It's not Iggy's fault. But for sure, just great matching.
Yeah.
Of the two genres.
It's like the mood board thing. I feel like movies are just like giant mood boards, really.
Yeah, exactly.
But more effort goes into that.
But putting, when you're trying to get the effect and the impact, I mean, there's a lot of films that don't have any mood. They're just in crap. Yeah. But when you have certain comedies, certain dramas, or something very kind of even political, and can have different kind of other areas of it. This, it gives you that whole connection together. So it works out really well.
I'm like such a big fan of it, and I think it's awesome. And I think I love looking at other people's art, even if it's like a big production like that. Not necessarily just what people can do with something, and obviously stating the obvious, but it's fun.
But like living in the UK, and when this came out in the 90s, I saw it like when it first came out, Trainspotting. But there was a lot of those characters that you can kind of see, even if they're not your friends or you're directly friends with them, but you can see people like that in certain circles, or like when you're going to pubs, when you're going to clubs, when you're going to just out and about. I was mostly living in London for the most part, but you kind of see those kind of characters, which you can see they're very realistic.
Yeah.
And you can relate, not directly in terms of the drug use, maybe for me, but I can relate to seeing, there is that crowd over there kind of thing.
They somehow managed to like make it perfectly, like almost like a fantasy movie in a weird way, with like the toilet stuff and but the characters are still, I feel, very grounded while being like accentuated and lively. Like I just think it's awesome. For sure.
But I think the cast were incredibly good.
Oh yeah,
because they were still very young. I think some of these might have been their second or third. Maybe they had smaller parts or smaller, just stuff. But they together, it just came out. I think they were incredible. So it was a great film, and as itself.
I agree. Obviously.
We're gonna jump to your last song.
My last song. Okay.
This is now his music was used in a lot of films too. Roy Orbison, number 10, Crying.
Yes, I love this song to death.
Mm.
Actually,
He's so cool.
he really is. I love his hair. I'm not a big Orbison fan, like his stuff, obviously, like some of his stuff, but that song specifically, I feel it's totally a me thing. I don't know if it's just that good or a me thing. I saw it in a movie at the end of the movie and like the ending sequence, and I listened to it on a road trip on repeat, which is like, I'm surprised I haven't gotten tired of it yet. I think it has this like almost rainy feel to it in a way that's like warm and comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
and his voice is incredible, obviously, and it's something that I haven't talked about that song often in regards of when I bring up music, but it is something I really, really, really. I mean that song means a lot to me, and the way it was used in the movie, I thought was great.
Yeah, his voice captures definitely a feeling, and I think it's hard to just consider it like background music. I feel like it's very. He's got a certain sound, and even like Pretty Woman, that song was used in the movie Pretty Woman and everything. It's like it's kind of now attached itself because of that. And I don't dislike the movie, but it's almost like in a way done it a disservice. But there's so many of his songs that just stand alone and just stand, and when they do complement when it comes to being in movies or something.
Yeah.
But I love the way his voice just kind of, and when you see him with some of the other artists he's played on records with, when he comes in and he's, I think it was the Travel and Wilburys or I don't know if he was, the Travel and Wilburys and something else. And he just, when he pops in and you hear him sing, it's really, I don't love every song by him either, but when he sings, it's like very distinctive and unique and special, but it's like comforting almost.
Kind of like a heated blanket when it's really cold.
Yeah, exactly.
Reminds me of those like specific when they bring the hot towels out at nail salons. Love those. Shout out to the hot towels at nail salons, actually. Yeah. But his voice, it's almost like people like associate it with, I think, like Elvis. Not Elvis. He doesn't sound like Elvis, but
no,
the time and like the vocals and I like the way he draws it out, and I like the end of the song a lot. And the way it was used in the movie was like towards the end of the movie. It's the end of the movie, and they had like referenced it earlier in the movie. And it's these like hillbilly kids, and
what was the movie?
Gummo. I brought it up earlier. And they're like killing cats because cats are like invasive to the area, so they're like shooting the cats. And at the end of the movie, like the kid has a cat and he's just like running up to the thing with the cat. It's like takes a funnily, wrong word, humorous amount of time for him to get to the camera with that song playing. And I thought it was really cool. And there was like pool scene with it raining, and I thought it was amazing for that. Like half the budget, I'm sure, was used on that song specifically.
Yeah, exactly.
Honestly.
No, but that sounds really interesting. I think that it's just, it does have that. And when you mentioned Elvis, I think that's a good point, because he probably was around the same time as Elvis, same circa or whatever. But,
same too.
Yeah, and just that, again, that showman kind of confidence where he's a professional musician and kind of thing. And I think that's why I respect him, because he's doing his thing. He's kind of just
is he still alive?
not taking it. No,
what I thought.
No. But not taking himself as he didn't have the same challenges that Elvis had, in terms of being like this idol, the huge king of music, kind of thing. Whereas he just was huge, but still could kind of probably walk anywhere, and unless people saw him and maybe, kind of like, oh, that's Roy Orbison or something. So he kind of had that, still could kind of like but still the same swag.
Swag, yeah, totally. He's totally swaggy guy.
Phoebe, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
And I love that you're my first guest to be live together in the same room. We're here together. It's been really cool being able to do that and have you as the first person to do it. So I'm glad we saved this for us being together in Houston to do this.
Yes.
As always, when I'm on the video with people that I'm doing the show with, at the end I always say to be kind, be humble, be loved. And I wish that for you, of course. Much. And thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to have done this in person and be the first person to do it in person. I'm like so excited, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. That's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Pretty vacant times.
Are you ready?
It suffers for his sports jacket.